You're listening to Ernestly Speaking, the only weekly podcast that covers friends, foes, and anything that goes. And now, for your badass host, Ernest Owens. And we're back for another episode of Ernestly Speaking with your host, Ernest Owens, myself. Well, we are in May, and it is springtime. Okay, it's spring. I know the weather's been getting a little jumpy, and a lot of people are, like trying to figure out if it's really spring or not. But I'm convinced. I think we finally have gotten into spring. I mean, not just calendar wise, but just the weather. I mean, it's been somewhat consistently not cold, and it has been so sticky that I have now put in, I'm starting to use the thermostat. I'm starting to, get the air conditioner moving now because, before I was like, we can ride it out, put the windows up, but it's starting to get a little sticky out here. May has been good. I mean, it just seems like the year's going by so fast, but but steady at the same time. I can't complain. I mean, it's part of the good feeling I'm having is that we're seeing progress. We're seeing progress, steady but surely in some sense with this pandemic. But I'm starting to see people get, at least in my personal circle and just my network, in general, people are just feeling more comfortable to go out. And, I'm leading an organization that has a bunch of members, and we're starting to have the conversation about doing in-person meetings in the fall, which almost felt impossible, but 2 months ago, the idea would have just been absolutely no. So to see, that type of progress happening, or even just the thought of doing something in person as a group in the fall, my wedding's in the fall. It's coming. And, even though there's been some scaling back, with some of the proposals made by, by Biden and everyone over there at the White House, people are ready to get their asses out. I mean, people are ready. They're folks that get on airplanes like nobody's business. I haven't got on a plane yet, but I plan to go to Houston. So, I was teasing out in the last episode this idea of maybe having my siblings, which one of them is officially going to Temple University. Okay, he's officially going to be a Temple Owl. Okay, the middle child, he's 18. He's going to be a Temple Owl. So it's going to be interesting, to have a sibling, in the same city with me. We haven't done that since 2010 when I graduated from L6. So it's going to be interesting to see everybody come together in this type of way. But my whole family's not moving down here. But he is the first. And so my mother is excited. All my folks are excited. They're like, you don't even got to get a plane ticket, for him to go to the wedding. So it'll just be only a couple of plane tickets being bought. Everything is just economically, it makes sense, I suppose. But also, he really wants to go to Temple. And like I said, I had it in me that I felt like he was going to make that decision, because National Decision Day, as you all know, is May 1st. So that's like apparently National Decision Day, like all across the country, people are deciding. I don't remember if that's what I did. I think I just followed the money, and University of Pennsylvania had a great financial aid package, and that's how I decided. And plus it was an Ivy League and all of that stuff too. But it was just like the hype that people have for, Decision Day. I mean, it was just, it was a moment, I guess, but I think the day that I was getting my acceptance letters, I was like that kid that was looking at the U.S. rankings and being like, which one is this ranked? And Penn was ranked high, definitely in the top 5 at that time. It was 2010. So they were definitely ranked high. And you had Princeton, you had, Yale and stuff. And then also, it was also comfort, because like when you think about New Haven, New Haven, no shade to the folks that, that's out there in New Haven. But I need to be, let me see. Look at me. I'm about to get myself in trouble. I would just say that I wanted to be in a major American city that wasn't super big like New York, but wasn't super like small or very, kind of in its own element like Baltimore. Like I wanted something that had that middle. And Philadelphia being the second largest city on the East Coast, Philadelphia just had that perfect middle, and it was also rich black culture. It was diversity, and so it just and at that time the mayor was black. It just everything about it just felt like, you know what, this is a nice city that I could just sow my seeds in and just make it happen. And I have, and I've been doing so for the past decade. So it paid off. It worked, and I think my little brother's going to definitely have it a lot different than I did because I came here with no. What Iggy is I say, no money, no car, six wheels. I came here with wings and dreams and an Ivy League, ambition. So he comes here with a brother who's already done it, a future brother-in-law who's done it, a guardian who's here, other folks that's here, and a big old circle of fans that he don't even know exist. Because you all are so hype about him on Instagram when I post him and things. Everybody's always excited about him and things. And I think he's debating like the girlfriend thing. He's one of those. Like, I didn't have a boyfriend when I left. I mean, I had a situation, but it wasn't a situation that was serious. It was kind of like look, I'm going to go where the money resides and I'm going to see you later, boo. Okay. It wasn't anything serious at that point, but it was just like a summer love affair. And it was, and then I came back for the holidays and rekindled, and, that was the thing until, it wasn't a thing. But it wasn't like a serious, like, like, oh my goodness. And so I think in this situation, he's got his, that young love. So he's trying to figure it out. She's definitely going to be staying in Texas. But I was like, we don't make decisions based off of relationships that are in our, teens. Okay. Plus, they just started dating like earlier this year. So I'm not saying that it can't work. I'm just saying that the likelihood of it working is inevitable. But I gotta let the boy live. He's 18. I gotta let him do his thing and learn. Have learning experiences. I am not a helicopter brother. Even though I'm the big brother, I'm the oldest, but I'm not a helicopter brother. I'm gonna let him do his thing. I gotta go to Temple actually and start buying some swag for him. Cause I'm gonna be in Houston sometime this month. I'm gonna stop by for a little bit and just drop off some stuff. Got my house watcher, got everybody on lock over here holding it down. But I am excited. Got to get sweaters and sweatshirts and all that jazz. Got to get all the temple wear. And I wonder, I was wondering, like, I mean, it's a graduation party, it's a cookout, it's a dinner, it's all of the things. So I'm enthusiastic to see, how it plays out. But it's been a minute since I've seen my family in person. I think that is the interesting thing is seeing family in person, which I'm looking forward to. And we're going to see each other a lot this year. The wedding, the wedding shower, which is going to be later in the summer, all of that. And the wedding has been good. Planning has been great. Just getting shit together. I mean, it's the update this week is just getting shit together pretty much. I mean, I would say that the one thing that has really struck out to me, and I don't think about this often because I'm so much into my own relationship that I'm not actually looking at what's happening around me. But someone had said to me the other day, they messaged me and they were just saying, I'm so happy that I followed you on social media and, that, you're in a loving relationship with a black man. And I was like, duh. Like that in my head, I was like, duh. But then I took a step back and I look at a lot of black queer relationships and they're not a lot of mainstream. Let me clarify, a lot of mainstream. I'm not going to say it's a lot because at least in my social circle, my personal social circles, it is definitely a lot of black queer love. But mainstream, it's not that many black known people in relationships with other black people, whether it's women or male or whatever. It's it's oftentimes a lack of diversity. And this is not to say there's anything wrong with interracial relationships at all. Absolutely, absolutely. People should love who they love. But in mainstream, when you're living in a society that often treat black couples with so much anger and rage and colorism, it does mean something that people can see that, because a lot of times you don't see that. When I was watching Pose, which I'll talk more about, but the new season, I love that Blanca has a black partner that loves her. It's just that could have been a different storyline. I mean, even looking at their relationship's a little toxic, but Ricky and Pray Tell, or even before when it was Ricky and Damon, which was like when they were together and it was like good, it was good. I was like, yes. It was just, I have never really been in an interracial relationship before. And it's not that clearly I'm off the market now for good, but it wasn't like I was opposed to it directly. It's just that I guess you get what you attract, and I attracted black men as a black man, and I was good with that. And I never really, felt this ambition. I feel like sometimes when people get in the dating space, they begin to exoticize and fetishize dating different people of different, origins. Like, whether it's, I want to date someone that is, that speaks, that has different nationalities, and it's like a thing. I remember when I was in college, this guy was like, I've talked to Italian girls, I've talked to Asian girls, I've talked to, and it's just like the interest in nationality and racial identities and ethnicities and all of these different things that shape their scope. And it's just like, why are we treating dating like it's a National Geographic checkoff list? Like, points if you've dated this, or you've had like when we was in school, it was like World History Day, and you'll try food from different countries, and you would get like different points off your score if you went to all the sections. I feel like that's how some people treat dating, racially or ethnically or nationally. Like, they treat dating in that type of way, and I just think it's kind of exploitative. And it's like, are you doing it for a personal mental thing, or what are you doing it for? It just seems very exploitative. So I just never was in a position where I was just in that, I felt that need. I just kind of like what I like, and I was always, dating people who made me feel comfortable. I think growing up, I never felt comfortable with white gay men in that type of way. I just never did. And the men who were white, that were gay, that were attracted to me, I was not attracted to them. And a lot of it had to do sometimes with how I was being approached. I just was not, I didn't like the way I was being talked to. I didn't like the way the energy was. And there are some white gay men that date black gay men that they wasn't approached that way. So I'm only speaking from my personal experience. I'm not speaking on anybody else's love or relationship. But I was in situations where I was like, no, I'm good. I went to the clubs back in the day. Me and Jamarcus used to go out and hit the clubs. And I remember this one boy who was white came up to me, was like, hey, how you doing? I was like, I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. And was like, you have beautiful skin. I was like, okay, thank you. Oh, so chocolatey. I would like to taste it. And I said, you know what? That's enough. Like, you can't talk, like, what? But you know what? I always tell people this, and I say this all the time. What somebody has said to someone else, they done gotten away with it with somebody else. He done probably told somebody else this, and that person was for it. But he went to the wrong person when he came over to Mr. Ernest Owens. So, yeah, it was not happening. And so he got cussed out royally, and that was that. But I've had situations like that where I've been fetishized and things, and I've written about this in the past. That it does happen in all communities. I know it happens in cishet communities, but it also happens in LGBTQI community. There is always some type of fetish, whether it's skin complexion, whether it's race, whether it's assumptions about endowment. And you know what I mean by that? The whole big black cock narrative that doesn't just happen only in the racialized buck culture of cishet black men, but also in communities of color. So it's a lot of fetishes and ideas about submissiveness and dominance and prominence and shit. It's a lot of that shapes some people's attractions to people of a different race and different things. But like honestly, what I've in being in relationships with Black men and have had those experiences, I have personally just felt an instant comfort because I don't have to navigate a lot of additional stressors that come with what I have to do within the quote unquote real world. I don't have to like when I come home and I see my fiance and I talk about something I saw on the street, he's not looking at me like, what? What does that mean? Or do you really, or questioning me or gaslighting me or not having an ability to empathize or empathizing in ways that's more sympathetic, more than actually a real common ground understanding because they're limited to that. It's just a lot of limitations that I have. I think for the type of person I am, right? I don't feel like I have the emotional capacity to educate within my own relationship on that type of issue, because relationships are already hard enough as they are. Relationships are already, they already come with their own levels of adjustment and normalization and domesticality, all of the things that come with relationships. So the element of dealing with race in that makes it, it sometimes can wreck relationships. I've had friends who've had successful interracial relationships. The person they with just fucking get it. Okay. And they just, it's work, but it's not, it doesn't feel exhausting, right? Because that person in that relationship is doing the work independently and not exhausting or exploiting the Blackness of their partner, So that makes it different. Then you have some situations where, that person isn't doing the work. That person is completely clueless. That person is just, kind of like, and dropping the ball and fumbling every day. And I had a friend of mine who dated a white guy who just consistently did not get it, to the point where a lot of the protection and security they needed from that person they couldn't get because either family members are racist or people in their social circle was racist, and they was grappling with holding on to some of these racist relationships while also trying to proclaim this love. And so that's a struggle. And then of course you have people who are in the relationship that exploit it for various reasons. I have seen Black men date women that are not Black because they're misogynistic. They have issues with misogynoir. And I'm not saying all couples. I'm saying there are men that specifically go after white women because they have presumptions about women being more, lighter women, whiter women being more docile or submissive compared to Black women, feeding into these false narratives of an angry Black woman or, aggressive Black women and all those types of tropes. And so it's a lot of different narratives that shape it. And it's, at the end of the day, roots in that anti-Blackness and that white supremacy that really penetrates attraction, desirability, and sex. And I just am grateful that I'm in a relationship with a smart Black man that understands me, gets me, and allows me to be my best self. And that's why I'm getting married. So I just want to sometimes say that, because I don't know. I just feel like everyone always feels like they have to make these proclamations when they're dating outside their race, and that's their right. That's their right. But I don't see enough Black queer couples that are out there. I think of some of the couples I know. I mean, there's a book that just came out called Queer in Color by Jamal Jordan, who profiles these diverse relationships. And it's not just Black people, it's Asian couples, Latinx couples, and profiles them in these photos. And this is what was creating this conversation. I wasn't featuring the book. Mr. Johnson and I were not featuring the book. We should have been, but But I know Jamal Jordan, and the book is fabulous. He's a Black queer journalist who has worked at the New York Times, done some really great work for NBC in the past and Vice and stuff. So he definitely did a lot of great work on, covering nuanced couples and finding it. And there's something just so different. Like, I don't see a lot of books, photography books, and this is like narrative driven, but it's photographic. A lot of it is imagery with the stories of these couples. And it was just touching to look at and so timely with everything we have going on, today. So in our era. So yeah, it was dope. It was super dope. Um, hmm I'm just thinking about it now. So So I'm going to address this because I know a lot of people have been followed this that happened a couple of days ago on my Instagram. I didn't take it to Twitter. I did not take it to Facebook. I just took it to Instagram because that's where it happened. So my Instagram was popping, and it was popping, and there was some things happening on that Instagram that had me like, "What's going on?" So I guess I'll start from the beginning. Last Friday night, had dinner with my mom's boyfriend. He lives in Philly, and we just had a great old dinner, good old time. One of their college friends that they know, that they went to college with, was in town. So basically, I was giving them the Philly tour as the Philly transplant resident and tourist in chief. So yeah, we were having dinner. We was at Entree, fabulous restaurant. I always love Entree. Entree is always like my escape. It's called Entree BYOB. They're in like South Philly, but they're just a really great place. Like it's just they just got good food, y'all, and they were great because they came out and brought out the limoncello cake, even though it's no longer on the menu, but they brought it out for the kid. So I was excited. Shout out to Entree BYOB for doing that because that limoncello cake is everything, but they don't have it on the menu anymore. But I had specifically requested it and they came through. So I'm just so happy for them. But anyway, it was a great dinner. We had rosé from Moet and Veuve Coquette, which is VC, what's what we call it abbreviated, but the yellow label. But we had the rosé, which was the pink label, and I love. I like their rosé, but I really like Moet's rosé better. I think it's because it's sweeter. Like when I think of rosé, I think it's sweet, and so I want something sweet that has a suckleberry energy. Like I want something like that. I'm not a wine enthusiast or a sommelier, but we'll get into why that's relevant in a minute. This is nerve wracking. So it was 9:19. I was having dinner, again with my folks. Okay, and on occasion, on a regular basis, you know, Philly Mag, my publication of love. They will sometimes share. They will always share my articles on social media, and they'll do a graphic. So sometimes they do a graphic to complement, to help promote it and get the word out about the piece, and get the buzz out. So that's what they do. So they'll make a graphic and share it on social. So this was a typical night. They do this. It was about my piece that was, did really well last week. A lot of buzz around the piece. The piece was called "Dear White People Want to DM Me on the Latest Racist Outrage? Read this first." And basically, I talked about this last week, but this piece was about how my DMs would always get hit by, white people who have a ton of questions anytime a big major racial uprising or something would take place. And this was like a handy dandy service guide of sorts that would, hit the major questions of what to do. What's the, frequently asked questions. And so it was this very punchy, but very serious piece that I did that really delved into it. And so I really wanted to write about this. And, it just was timely given everything that was going on with the Derek Chauvin case and the other reports that was happening Miss Bryant, who passed away in Columbus, Ohio, just all of these different incidents. I just felt like, you know what, we're about to enter probably the second, who knows, we might enter the second racial uprising during this pandemic. And I just want people to just reconsider how they did this last summer, because there was some victories last summer, but there was also some setbacks. Some people just didn't get their shit together. They didn't understand what they were doing. So I wanted to write this as a way to it. And I've done a lot of this type of writing before. You all know, that covering race and talking about its intersections, its nuances, finding various ways to address it, because it is an integral part integral part of our society. And it's something that we cannot just treat like, it's a weekly issue or a monthly issue. I mean, as a Black person living in America, race is impacting all aspects of my life. My breathing, my thinking, my ambitions. Like, how do I set obstacles or goals for myself? My safety when I walk out the door, what's happening, what's being said, my ability to navigate and through society, being my full authentic self as a Black queer person. Like, all of these things happen. And what happened on last Friday, what happened, at 9:19 p.m. while I was eating dinner, enjoying, Black excellence and joy, is a reminder of what I mean by this. So I received a DM at 9:19 p.m. on last Friday. It was on April 30th. So let me back this up. Philly Mag had posted a quote from my article. And the quote was, "We are not your therapists, consultants, or emotional support systems. We're actually marginalized people trying to survive in a system of state-sanctioned violence." Yeah, that's what I wrote. That was the quote from my piece, but that was the highlight. That really just expressed that Black and brown people are not here to be, guides and assistants for white people in their guilt. We do what we can, but we're not, they're not entitled to us in this type of way. We have, Black people have lives too. And sometimes people forget that our life does not only revolve around fighting against racism. It is a part of us, right? That in trying to survive, we have to confront racism and find ways to, destabilize it in our everyday practices, whether we're getting discriminated on the job, discriminated in our own personal lives, being harassed, being threatened. All of those elements is a part of it, but that's not it. We're not in servitude to white people's guilt. We're not here to assuage their insecurities about their understanding of race. It's not like that. Now, there's professionals like myself who get paid to write about it. There's people that get paid to consult and advise. But every Black person you encounter was not sent on this earth, and this is directly to white people, to be your spokesperson, to cover your tracks, to be that for you in ways that are not, for hire. So it's a lot of issues. So I wrote this post. So at 9:19 p.m., I received this message. "We treat you like we think you're our therapist, do we? Well, it could be worse. We could be shooting you constantly, every day, like other Black people do." That's the message I received. It was a what the fuck moment for me. It was this is really like a real person, an actual adult, a living person, not a troll account, not a spam account, not some crazy, right-wing trolling account page. This was a real person that wrote this. And I mean, all of those people are real people too. Trolls are real people too. But this was weird. And so I shared it on my Instagram story and was just like, because I was already doing a story on my Instagram about like enjoying myself, drinking, having a good time with my people. And I saw this thing, so I shared it, and I just kind of was like, I'll put it around the framework of, this is what it's like to be Black in America. You can be having dinner, enjoying yourself, and some white man is going to get in your DMs and privately message you and send you something so disgusting like that. And so I initially left it there. Like, I was like, you know what? I'm going to let people see what the shit I get. I screenshotted it. I shared it. I said that night, look, I'm just going to, block this person And I'm going to ignore haters and keep it moving. Because that, like, listen, as a black journalist, as a black queer person, I get hate for my journalism sometimes. I get hate just for existing. And so it's nothing new to me. I mean, as somebody that's 29 years old, it is nothing new for me. On a regular basis, I'm getting crazy ass emails, crazy ass stuff. I have had to give people restraining orders in the past. I have had to send cease and desist letters in the past. Like, this is just what happens when you have high visibility, that people will send you racist shit. People will send you threatening shit. People will do things that are fucked up like this. And listen, people can have their own opinions, but it's a difference between being a racist and saying something bigoted and threatening and something that is very racially, motivated in that kind of way to a personal person that is not in direct to you. It's something to be said for that, right? I have people that tell me stuff like, I don't like your writing. It's trash. It's divisive. Okay, fuck you. You're entitled to your opinion. And I'm never going to I don't even say fuck you to them. I don't respond to them. I just ignore them because that's what I do. But there are people who cross the line. And this was a situation where the line was crossed because they were trying to imply that because I was telling white people that I'm not their therapist, that I'm not any of these things, that somehow that's a problem, that, so I got a problem with them even asking for quote unquote help. Well, it could be worse. Like they could be shooting me instead. Like, how about that? And they thought that to juxtapose that and then to try to interject black on black crime, that somehow this was something they put thought into that comment, right? You at 9:00 at night decided that you wanted to get in the DMs and basically tell a black person about how white people could shoot them. Do you not understand the brevity of that and the time to which you did that? Not the physical time, but the era. Black men are in this country being killed and being shot left and right. And you're going to present the alternative of white people not asking to be therapists to black people, but to be able to attack them and to actually kill them. And you're sending this to someone that you don't actually know. You don't know this fucking person from a can of paint. And if you did, you shouldn't even never fucking say something like that to them. But you have decided that this is what you want to do. You want to disrupt their peace. You want to incite a level of frustration, animosity, and hostility. You wanted to scare them. And in many ways, you wanted to use threatening language and violent language and racially charged language, racist language to do it. And it was intentionally meant to be harmful. It was meant to be divisive. It was meant to incite anger. It was meant to destabilize them, to silence them, to bully them. It was violent. It was ignorant. It was toxic, and it was fucked up. And this is what they decided to do. So I went to bed and I was just like, fuck this person. Woke up in the morning and a lot of people were like, oh my God, this person is a fucking hypocrite. And I was like, who? What? Who's this man? This man represents in Philadelphia, this white man represents a lot of wine, he's like a sales rep for wine companies in the area, and, does all types of, wine judging and tastings and things of that nature. And is like a big wine enthusiast in Philadelphia. And like they have relationships with some known institutions like the Pennsylvania Wine Association and other names. Like this person is known in these circles. And, since that incident, I mean, there's been many people in the wine community in Philadelphia and across Pennsylvania that have told me they know this guy, they've seen this guy around. They were completely shocked by this. They were just like taken aback. And so when I realized this, I said, okay, maybe something is wild here. Like this person why would this person do this? So I went on their Instagram page and I looked, and what they were saying to me did not reflect who I thought this type of person would be, right? Because but see, this is how white supremacy works, right? Is that it's the people that give you the energy. So this person was on their social media posting posts about bashing Trump. Their wife is an immigrant who just got, actually, they're no longer immigrant. They now have their American citizenship. They are a chef and a cook that's at some prominent restaurants in Philadelphia, has done business, have been featured in the press. I mean, they are these people are known in the restaurant, the food and drink community in some type of way. And it's weird because I'm just like, okay, this person is talking about immigration and celebrating citizenship. This person was praising the Rizzo statue being taken down, calling this person all types of names about being a racist and talking about, called Rizzo a crumb bum and was celebrating that. And I'm just like, they got all of this rhetoric around inclusion. It sounds like this person would be, some type of, I mean, I know now they're not a white progressive, but they were giving, their account would give that suggestion based on these stances they were taking outwardly. Very performative, very much take pictures of ripped signs and, call out, bigots like Trump and Rizzo. I mean, very much so looking like that. That's what they were appearing on the outside. But in the inside, they were sending me messages that suggested black on black crime, that basically tried to tell me that basically implying that my complaint about white people asking me for help could be far worse, like them actually killing me and shooting me. And that's how I felt. That's what I know. And my feelings are valid. My anger, my frustration, the discomfort I felt. And after knowing this, I said, you know what? I need to let my followers and people know, because I could stay silent and take this and go through this in silence. But I said, why? This person felt bold and buck to get in my private messages and talk to me this way. So clearly they want attention, and clearly they think it's okay to talk like this. So you know what? I'm going to actually let people see who they are. I'm going to get a mirror and I'm going to show people what type of person this person is, because what you do in the dark will come out in the light. And this person did this in the privacy of their own home and in the privacy of my DMs. And as a black person in that situation that felt threatened, right? I was like, no, I can't just sit up here and let people talk to me in this type of way, especially people that will turn around and pretend and perform this level of wokeness to their followers, but privately they're doing something completely different. So I said, you know what? I'm going to take back the power, and I'm going to actually let people see what I am dealing with as a black journalist. Because often I get gaslighted. People say to me, oh, white people don't do that to you. People don't talk to you like that. You don't get crazy messages in your DMs. People don't say that kind of stuff. Or I think you're just a graduate. I think you're just being divisive. No white person would do that. What kind of white person would do that? So I get gaslit all the time. And so I said, you know what? Oftentimes I just ignore. I really don't engage. I barely do. Or if I do, if I am in a situation where I get in comments or I debate somebody, I typically keep the conversation very civil. I barely engage, but if I do, I try to keep it engaged. But there are people out here, trolls, right, that are invested and feeling like you owe them something, that they're entitled to you, that your body, your voice, your perspective, that they own you. It's almost like a modern day form of slavery where they think that they can talk to you however they want, whenever they want, and that they deserve an explanation, that they deserve for you to disclose anything about yourself that gives them some level of resolve. And then you have to go, who in the fuck do you think you are? And so that moment, I think this person understood who the fuck I was, because I was not going to sit back and be dealing with this frustration privately and by myself. I said, no, if they want to talk to me publicly or think that they can talk to me because to them I'm a public figure, then let's go public then. Let's go all the way, because I don't keep secrets in my DMs. If a person really felt that buck to get in my DMs and do that, let's have at it in the conversation in public discourse. If you feel like what you did was right, if you thought it was justified, then you need to own your shit. So I posted the post. It's on my Instagram. It is still there. It is not coming the fuck down. And I shared exactly what happened to me. And I identified that person because that person identified me. And I wanted people to know exactly who this person was. So I did. I told them this is this man who appears to be a white progressive. I now know that they're not, and clearly what they are saying, what they're doing isn't progressive, clearly. And they don't identify as that anymore. They told me, because I'm going to get to how bizarre this got. But when I made that post, I got a phone call immediately. And the man called me, actually. The man actually called me. And I was kind of taken aback. I was like, yo, what's going on? Just don't understand why are you calling me? They told me they found my name in the white page. They looked up my number, actually. And I mean, was trying to assume black people that I don't even know that the same last name as me. Because y'all know we were just talking last episode about Candace Owens. So they were like, do you know LaToya, LaTanya, these people? I was like, I fucking don't. Like, you think all black people like are the same? Like, are you crazy? And was trying to like throw out these people that he was going to call to, he wanted to broker a deal. He wanted me to, like find common ground. I was like, you have threatened my life. You have created a hostile environment. I don't know you from a fucking can of paint. Why are you talking to me? And was going back and forth about how their wife, who is this, this chef and this cook in this town, was crying. I'm just like, but how? How are you talking about your wife? Talking for the sake of your wife, for their wife, can I take my post down? You didn't think about your wife when you decided to be a bigot in my comments and say this racially insensitive shit, this racist shit. You didn't think about your family, your reputation, or any of those things when you decided to target me. Why did you think that was okay? I was pressing him. I mean, it was a heated conversation. He was telling me that, you're a public figure. I said, so you think that it's okay to talk to people that you think are public figures in any kind of way? I would never. Okay, listen, I don't like certain people that I don't fucking know. Like, I don't know personally. I don't know Lena Waithe personally. But I think that Lena Waithe, some of her work and her productions are toxic as fuck. I'm never going to get in Lena Waithe's DMs and threaten her or say to her anything that would give her the impression of violence or talk to her in a very disgusting, gross manner. Just not going to do it. I will say, look, I don't like her work. Some of her movies are trash. That's my opinion. We're going to keep it all about the work. But to go into this dimension where it's not even about the work, he goes on talking about he feels like my work is racially divided and that I am, I'm a race baiter. I mean, he started talking like Fox News and was calling me a race hustler. I mean, all the things that a huck, what was a hack, a racist hack. I mean, just everything that you can imagine a Fox News person would say. I mean, they start telling me all kind of crazy shit, like how they switched over, that they are now independent, that they was a Democrat. And, I mean, it's telling me so much of their business. And I'm looking like, why are you talking? What is this? And then they wanted to tell me a story. They wanted to tell me a story about how they lived in Grace Ferry and how they were ran out the neighborhood by people that were racist and how they were a victim of gun violence and threats and that they were pushed out. And I said, well, who are the people that pushed you out? Because you're white. Who pushed out? Black people in Grace Ferry that they were describing as racist pushed them out. I didn't want to hear that story. Actually, in my list, I said, I don't want to hear these stories. But one to keep telling me a story about common ground, told me about how they had a family member that was kicked out of a theater 50 years ago. I mean, just all of these anecdotes. And I was thinking to myself the entire time, if you have all these perceptions about division and racism, why did you write that? And they could even, and the thing is that you calling me talking about you need to figure out how to get this down, quote unquote. It was like negotiative, like trying to negotiate with me how to take a post down. And my whole mentality was, you're trying to have a conversation with me about something you did. And I have not, mind you, at this point in the conversation, I had yet to get an apology. I hadn't even gotten an apology. I mean, like 15 minutes into the conversation, because I was taking notes. Because I got a lawyer. I got people, I'd already contacted my folks before. Y'all know I call my folks before I post. I had already cleared everything. I said, this, that, and third. My lawyer, my team, my people already knew what was going on. editors already knew. I already contacted people. Found out that this man was the same man that a couple of weeks prior had been, criticizing me and berating me in articles about other articles I was writing. And this was a piece I did about the vaccinations a couple of weeks ago. And they were in the comments under an actual Instagram post going completely ham and just talking disparaging about me. And I had actually went back and forth with them, but I didn't remember this person because I deal with so many trolls on a regular basis. But I'm looking like, you're obsessed with me. This is giving me Mariah Carey. And I was like, why are you so obsessed with me? Like, this is what you do. So you find articles or you follow Philly Mag. And that's the thing about Philly Mag, about the trolls on Philly Mag. They love to drag us, y'all. They be like, Philly Rag, another diverse piece. They always talk shit about us, but they still read. And then the people that be like, we're going to unsubscribe, but they don't even have a subscription. But they'll sit up and say, Philly Rag is going to the shits. But then every week they're commenting and reading my articles and talking about it. So it's like, you all cannot get enough of it. I see the views. I see the traffic. White people that are good or bad in these situations, they read it religiously. They want to hear what I think about race and society and everything else in between. They read it. And there's a lot of white people. Let me just say this, because I got to shout out the folks that get it. But there are white people that read my stuff every week and be here for it and share that shit. And y'all know who y'all are. Y'all listen to the podcast. They share the shit on social. They push it out. They giving it to their family members. They're doing the work to get their people to fucking gather. And I just want to say thank you for reading, sharing, and getting it. It's so many of you out of count. I can't even shout out names. But thank you for doing that. And thank you for getting it or trying to get it, to learn and to follow and to tell people to follow. We have over 10,000 Instagram followers, none of which are bots, none of which I've bought, that are just consistently supporting and growing and reading and learning from it and being challenged on it and taking a step back from the material and being like, okay, I first read this and I felt like I was uncomfortable, right? Because the work does make you uncomfortable. When your privilege is being checked, no pain, no gain. What they say, no pain, no gain, no pain, okay? You gotta have it. It's a part of the process. If you doing crunches and you're trying to tighten up that body, you're going to feel some pain, some resistance. That's how you get progress. There's no progress without resistance. So that discomfort you feel when you read the article, that is making your head hurt because it's challenging you to rethink some of the shit you did not know. And there are some white people that get that and they're consistently doing the work to improve themselves and keep their knees and their siblings and their descendants and everyone else necks off of my motherfucking neck. So thank you for reading and getting it and comprehending it and sharing it. Not just hoarding the knowledge, but giving it out to your friends, your white friends, okay? Let's be clear. And making them have to think about this and wrestle with it. And there are some people who started off reading my stuff and just being like, I don't get this. But they have consistently gotten better. And I get fan mail, emails, and all kind of things. And they will say things like, listen, in the first I would read and I would get mad and I was whatever. But then I would take some time to think about myself and things I do. And, thank you for challenging me and making me better. And I'm like, well, it's not that I'm, actively, but if my work do that for you, I'm happy to hear it. So, those are the things that remind me on a weekly basis that the work that I'm doing is making an impact, whether it's the podcast episodes I do, whatever I do in this content, that I'm on the right track. And just because there's a couple of trashy ass white supremacists and racists and bigots and haters that decide to troll, that's not stopping what I'm going to do and what I've continued to do and what I'm destined to do. And that's something that I remind myself on a daily basis, because there are times I'm just like, fuck it. And I fuck it as in giving up, but just being sometimes like, do I have to be that person today? But then I'm looking around and some days I do take breaks, right? Because self-care is important. I do take some breaks. I do sometimes don't meddle everything. Sometimes I am getting pulled from folks to address this or speak on this. And at times I tell y'all, it's not that I don't care. It's just that I need some time to just marinate. And if there's other folks out there in the community that are amplifying voices. Or maybe it could be you as a white person. Maybe you need to say something or speak out. But like, we have to share this and share our energy and respect our spaces and energies. And that's what I have learned. I'm not a machine. I'm a human. And humans, are imperfect. And humans are also need rest to recharge. We're not battery charged. And so that is something about what I've learned through time, that I'm only going to continue to do this work as long as I can fortify myself with the confidence, support systems, and love and results that I continue to bring to the table. And that's something that I've been able to do, and that's why I continue to do what I do. But like, I will never be a mule for anybody, and that's something that I want to be very clear about. But that being said, I had enough. So this person, this man, it got crazy. I wanted to talk to his wife. I spoke to his wife. His wife was very much, she seemed distressed on the phone, but she was very much trying to cape for her husband, trying to say it was a misunderstanding. But I was saying to her respectfully that what he said could have not been a misunderstanding, and that to say it's a misunderstanding is to gaslight my legitimate feelings. There was this conversation around cancel culture and this whole thing about, you're canceling, don't cancel my wife. And I'm like, I'm not canceling your wife. Your actions will cancel your wife, because at the end of the day, what you decide to do, how you decide to do, if it's not me, it'll be someone else, because you're a hothead and because you clearly are having an obsession that you consistently feel the need, that you felt entitled to my attention. So when you wasn't getting it no more in the comments of an Instagram post on Philly Mag, you decided to get in my private DMs. But this time you decided to be more incendiary than before. So you wasn't saying this type of trash shit in the comments on Instagram publicly, but you thought you could say in the DMs. When I asked them would they have said this publicly, because I called them a coward, you damn right I called them a coward, they said they would have. And I said, well, then why didn't you? Because if you felt like what you said was okay and you thought it was cool, why didn't you do that? Because you knew what you were doing, and you wasn't expecting me. You was not expecting me to share that. Because oftentimes Black people suffer in silence. Black people are often afflicted and harmed in silence. And when they are harmed in public, it's often by white stateside institutions that kill them, right? So we know that these microaggressions, these acts of racism, a lot of times they're often happening in private too. Remember, lynchings were often taking place at night. And sometimes those cross burnings were not happening in the daytime. They were happening at night by cowards that were wearing KKK masks and covering themselves. The same level of vitriol hate happens in the internet, where people hide under different identities, or they get into DMs in private spaces where they think they can maintain a sense of power. This person was being held accountable in the public eye. And I told them that I was not taking the post down, because at the end of the day, this is going to be a learning opportunity. See, we always say that, well, is there a learning opportunity? Yeah, this is a learning opportunity. You're talking about public shaming, so you thought that you can shame me privately? What's the difference between public shaming and private shaming? It doesn't matter. You don't get to define how you can talk to me, because I didn't deserve that message. I didn't deserve it. No matter how you felt, you could have kept it to yourself. I mean, they were telling me about how they felt about Dark. I said, you could have said all of those things, and none of it would have never been the same as threatening me in this type of way by saying this racist ass shit. So what ended up happening, what really escalated, was that I got off the phone with them. Things were just getting heated. They just kept making demands. They basically tried to push me to say, well, if I take down the post, they was going to give a public apology. And I was just like, no. Like, they wanted to create their own terms of agreements around it. And I was like, no. And I was very adamant on being like, you don't get to just do it. So they made a post, called themselves giving an apology. I'm actually going to read what the apology initially said, because it was ridiculous. I mean, it was a lot. And it's just, let me get into this. So, because I like to have my receipts on deck. So they said, quote, I need to apologize publicly to Mr. Ernest Owens. He and I have just had a long conversation where we tried to find some understanding. I'm not sure how successful we were, but it was important to me that people know that I harbor no racial animus toward any human. I'm sorry. I hope you accept my apology. Somebody got in the comments and said to them back, bruh, you literally just told this man that you could be shooting him like other black people. Are you fucking crazy? And they told me if I forgave them, I would be crazy as fuck too. So I don't forgive racism. I don't forgive racism. Just to be very clear, I don't forgive racism. And I don't forgive half-ass apologies. And I don't accept that type of energy because that was gaslighting. That was completely white-splaining a conversation that was not how that went down. Like, they really tried to cover their ass and give a half-ass apology on the public stage. It backfired. Commenters and people saw the post, criticized it, and they removed their apology. So that just very much confirmed it, because whether I kept my post out or not, and I said this to them, why am I doing a compromise around a public apology? If you are fucking sorry, then you will apologize regardless of whether I take the post down or not. Because to me, the apology is not sincere. You should be apologetic because of what you fucking did. What is this? I'm going to put a public apology up if you take it down. So that's the compromise. So I am literally having to be silenced for your own assuaging your white guilt, because now you're ashamed for what you did, because you're embarrassed, and because now people are not here for it. So here are some of the interesting things, because I do want to read this, because I do think this matters. So I received a message from the Pennsylvania Wine Association, which they said, Mr. Owens, Pennsylvania Winery Association, PA Wines, is aware of your post. We're not able to comment publicly, limited setting. They were referring to comment on the post, but then I allowed them to on Instagram. But wanted to reach out to you directly. This person, I'm not saying their name, has participated as a judge for PA Wines tastings in the past. His comments are disgusting and reprehensible. We will not be working with him anymore. We're very sorry that you have had to endure this. Pretty fucking good. So then I get another message. This came from another person that responded to this. And this is important. They said, Mr. Owens, I wanted to let you know how disgusted I am. I am absolutely furious right now that anyone I would even loosely associate with would treat another person this way. In no way does do they speak for me, my values, my ethics, or any part of who I am. I have a hard time even typing this as I am shaking with anger. I have always tried to be an example to my children on how the world should be and how we should treat each other. And this person's behavior is in no way in line with my values. My association with him is pure acquaintance. I do not know him well. He and I have mutual friends in the wine and sommelier community, and he has called on me as a sales rep for a local wine and spirits distributor, as well as participate as a volunteer judge in the 2020 Pennsylvania Wine Judgment. I can assure you that his behavior is not something that I condone, and I refuse to be complicit either. I will no longer be doing any sort of business with him or his employer if they also do not take action. His behavior and words are his own, and I refuse to associate with a person or business that has this type of bigoted behavior. I am not even sure what else to say. I hope that you will accept my sincerest apologies for this. I hope that appropriate action is taken by anyone else associated with this man, and I will be contacting his employer to let them know how unacceptable this behavior is. Hate has no place in my life, and I refuse to allow it in others. That was the apology. So that was an individual that is in the wine community with this individual, and they spoke up. And I think that that's something that's important. White people, that's what you do. Like that right there, I always do every time or every after my communication management hat on and analyze messaging and rhetoric. That statement, very much so long, but was a textbook example of how to not only just dismiss yourself from the situation, but to be proactive in addressing the issue at hand. What oftentimes happens with white people in situations with racism, at least the ones that I've encountered, is that they will just stop at the, I don't know this person, that's fucked up, I'm sorry. But this person said, no, not only am I not going to sit back and dismiss and distance myself, but I'm also going to let other people in this network know that this person is a problem and what they're doing is unacceptable. I immediately received another phone call from the person who wrote the post to me. And basically they called me and said the cancellation has begun. Look what you've done. And they're framing it like I was responsible. Like I'm some evil person. Like I'm some evil witch that wanted to cast a spell. I didn't wake up that Saturday morning, okay, and decided to choose violence. Violence chose me. And, in the words of Cat Williams, who just really hit it, shouldn't have been talking shit. Because that's really what the lesson is here. Shouldn't have been talking shit. Sometimes it's okay, white people, to have opinions about black people that you keep to your motherfucking self. Especially when it is invoking race, especially when it's invoking violence towards black people and said black person that you're talking to. You should never play rhetoricals around black violence. You should never play rhetoricals around white people shooting black people. Those are textbooks 101 on how not to fuck up your career or fuck up what you have going on. So there's no such thing as me canceling this person. This person canceled themselves. There's no such thing as me making their family's life harder. They made their family's life harder. So in the words of Cat Williams, again, an Emmy winner and a great comedian, shouldn't have been talking shit. And I'm done. So, speaking of shit and trolls and white people and bigots and racists, Donald Trump has been once again rebanded on Facebook. A group of, experts decided they wanted to, talk to him or something. So let me explain this. Facebook says that Trump can't go back to shit posting just yet, pretty much. There's an oversight board that upheld Trump's ban for now, but basically slammed Facebook for its arbitrary decision and told it had to hold a review within 6 months. So they're just going to keep doing this back and forth about whether or not they should, let Trump do what he do. Because I just don't understand what the point is. But I guess there is this argument that they were trying to frame around, just saying that basically Facebook is, that they call it toothless, it's authoritarian oversight board. They call it Trumpy because of that. But I'm just like, don't these sites have a right to basically choosing who they want and what? See, that's what I don't get about the free enterprise and companies and shit, right? Don't companies have a decision? Don't they have a choice to, in many ways, pick what kind of content they want? I mean, they take off content from black and brown creators that speak out against racism, but somehow they want to debate whether or not they want a man on there that's been inciting racial violence and insurrections on their platforms. Now, shout out to Twitter, because, Twitter is my favorite app. They have 100% have supported banning Trump forever. He's cut. He's done. And there was a countdown, y'all. Y'all remember that countdown? I was counting down. Okay. Hoping that Twitter was going to finally do it. And sadly, it took a fucking insurrection before they finally woke up and was like, yeah, we got to cut this motherfucker. But they did. And they did it for good. Facebook keeps playing this hopscotch game of should we not. Y'all know what he's done. Y'all know what he continues to do. What are y'all playing with? What are y'all doing? The motherfucker is already creating his own social media. Okay, because let's talk about it, right? He's already then created his own, he's working on his own social media platform that is basically supposed to quote unquote rival Facebook and Twitter, trying to push, his own agenda. And it's a lot of people that are definitely feeling some type of way about it. Look, I'll just say this. I just think that we're at a time and place where people got to pick a side and they need to stay with it. Figure out what you want to do and who you want to be, but keeping Trump in this situation is not going to work. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to work. It's just, it ain't happening. But there's people that are really pressed to try to justify, this whole situation. It is what it is. All I'm saying is Facebook should ban him indefinitely. They're playing games. He's made a decision to create other platforms and ways. Like, we just got to deplatform him. And if he's going to create other alternative ways to communicate, then let it fucking be. But I just feel like at the end of the day, this is just a mess. Some people have called them a kangaroo court. They're calling it whatever they want to call it. I just think it's a hot ass mess. Fuck Trump. But also, fuck people who don't know that America's a racist country. There's been a lot of crazy back and forth since Tim Scott, who people are calling Uncle Tim for various reasons. If you don't know the reference, don't get it. I am not here to tell you what it is. But Tim Scott is a senator. He's a black man, a black Republican. He's unmarried. He's never been married, actually. But he is, he's always put himself in a lot of just deep shit. And it's a lot there because, he is the Republican senator from South Carolina. He's the only black Republican senator. And they used him to give a rebuttal to Joe Biden's address to a joint session of Congress, which took place last week. And Joe Biden gave this address. It gave me State of the Union energy, even though it wasn't that, but it felt like that, This is like the first time they've met in person and everything. His State of the Union will be next year, but this kind of felt like that a little bit. It gave that kind of energy. But he, basically, Tim Scott said that America is not a racist country and really tried to talk about it. He said America is not a racist country, and he said that it's wrong to try to use our painful past to dishonestly shut down debates in the present. I'm sorry, racism hasn't went anywhere. I don't know why we're acting like did it just fall off the short bus? Like, what happened? So, I thought like, okay, everybody was dragging him on Twitter, progressives were, everyone was talking about it. But then Vice President Kamala Harris goes to ABC News' Good Morning and says that she agrees with Scott that America is not a racist country, but then said that the nation must speak the truth about its history with racism. What? I mean, it's like putting the cart before the horse or taking a bath water with it. I don't know what I'm just sitting here in shambles because I'm just like, so we could agree that America has a racist history, but America is not a racist country, even though it has a racist history? Okay. Interesting. I just had to, let me sip on this. I have to process this, y'all. Let me just put this as a hypothetical. If you had a history of beating, raping, exploiting, assassinating, disenfranchising, enslaving, gaslighting, assaulting, killing, murdering a group of people, hanging, lynching, stereotyping a group of people for, I don't know, centuries.
What does that make you? Okay. So that's how I feel about it in a nutshell. I mean, I could overanalyze and give you all this deep dive MSNBC analysis and bring on experts to come in and do all that and pull Mark Lamont Hill, who just is always looking for somebody's check, on here to try to mansplain and explain and do all. It's not. It's bullshit. America is a racist country. Let's be very clear that in a racist country, you are what the fruit that you bear, right? This country's racist. This country's racist. This country is racist. And the problem is that people think they don't understand the complexity of a racist, right? Racists, because I've encountered them, right? I've encountered them. I've seen them in real time. Racists are people that could be able to give you smiles and give you violence at the same time. They are the same people that can talk about progressive ideals or say things like call Rizzo a crumb bum, but then at the same time get in the DMs of another black person. They could be also someone who has dealt with law enforcement and, worked to, push $800,000 worth of cocaine through Southeast Pennsylvania, but then turn around and then talk about black on black crime. They could be those when they're doing white on white crime, but they could do all of those things and still be a racist. They could still say racially fucked up shit. They could still perpetuate that based on the fruit that they bear and the actions that they do. I think that that's the reality here. And so I think when you try to suggest that people can have a history of doing something without being that fucking thing, you can't have a history of racism without being a racist. I'm sorry. What are we doing here? Okay. If a person had a history of stealing, then they're a thief. I mean, if you have a history of doing anything. So to me, it's the basic simple. It's a lack of basic comprehension, logical skills for me. I'm not going to sit up here and get into the deep analysis because I don't think it requires that. It's bullshit. But the question becomes, why would Kamala say that? Why would Joe Biden say that? Because when you are the president and vice president of the United States, you pretty much have to present yourself as being America's number one patriot, America's number one fan. And nobody wants to be a racist, and nobody wants to say their country is racist, because then that suggests that this country is not worthy to live in and occupy. And many people, survey says, ding, 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 agree. Unfortunately, when you're living in a racist superpower, it makes it a lot harder for you to consider other places when racism is not an American issue, but a global issue that's been happening for centuries. So it's like if I want to leave and go to France, oh shit, France is racist, Islamophobic as fuck. Okay? Can't go to parts of Africa. There's still apartheid-esque energy and white supremacy in Africa. And that's the continent. So, there were people that was like, go back to Africa. Okay, there's some black people that go back to Africa, quote unquote, go to South Africa and dealt with the racism. I mean, it doesn't go anywhere in that type of way. So this is, a lot. This is a fucking lot. Because come on. Mm-mm-mm. Right. So, I just, I just, this is, it's just a lot, y'all. I'm happy that there are people, I'm just so happy that there are outlets that are encountering bullshit in real time. Could you imagine if we lived in an era that was like before the countercultural movement where there was just TV and what the president said, there wasn't much debate, or there was like debate on late night TV shows, but maybe James Baldwin make a special guest appearance, but if you didn't have him or Toni Morrison, RIP to both of them, then you was just going to be fucked. Maya Angelou couldn't make a guest appearance. Oprah's no longer on TV now. I mean, it's a lot. I mean, she's no longer doing her show in the way that she used to. I mean, it's a lot of... It's just, I mean, sometimes you have to remember that, Kamala Harris's comments are not going to be that much of a shock. I mean, this is a former prosecutor. She pushed policies that supported law enforcement policing. Others were shocked and disappointed, but then again, it's like America's first Black and South Asian, vice president. I mean, Okay. So there's a lot. There's a lot. That's all I'm gonna say. There's a lot there, and I just want to just confirm that I, Ernest Owens, believe that America is a racist country. Know that America is a racist country. My ancestry have also experienced this country as a racist country. Yes, were there people who got things? Yeah, the things that we were entitled, the things that we bust our ass for. But you can still, in many ways, individually have a couple of rays of sunshine in a racist country. I mean, life comes with its own things. Like again, like as I said, as a black person, I live in a society where I just said this earlier on this podcast. Like I have to navigate all these things while also trying to find love and joy. And that doesn't my experiences of love and joy does not negate the fact that racism in this country is prevalent. Like that's what they try to do, right? That's what white people like to do sometimes in counter arguments. They'll say, "Well, you got an Ivy degree, aren't you privileged?" Okay, yes, I have an Ivy degree in an institution that does not, enroll a decent amount of black and brown people. I have an Ivy degree in a country that will still hire more white men that do not have my college degree before they will hire me. Okay? Like take that the fuck in. I live in a country where there are black women I know who are married to other white men that have law degrees and their husband have no formal college education and their husband who is white makes more than them. So even in black excellence, white mediocrity oftentimes in certain arenas will take full pursuit. We live in a society that would give Frances McDormand 3 Oscars, but will never get, but which is more than any black actress with a lead Oscar. There's only one woman who's won the Academy Award for Best Lead Actress, that's Halle Berry. And Frances McDormand has 3 Best Actress Oscars, and she has more than black women, Latinx women, and Asian women combined. Exactly. Meanwhile, Viola Davis went to Juilliard. Just saying. So, we can play. If you try to act like racism can be addressed by material things or capitalism, that is never going to be the answer. Black people as a collective in this country does not have generational wealth. So telling us about Oprah means nothing to us when we are overall socially fucked. This is a racist country when a racist country does not have any true equity in the very communities to which they've enslaved and brought here. They don't even have any reparations. We have no reparations. We have none of those things. And yet we're trying to claim that this is not a racist country. Fuck out of here. Get out of here with that shit. So, yeah. Shit. Okay. So, other shit. COVID. News came out that we're not going to get herd immunity. Dr. Fauci is saying that we're not going to get herd immunity. The vaccination, the vaccinations are not maintaining the updates that it needs. It's kind of slowly, the momentum is declining. People are getting too comfortable. We're supposed to get 150 million people vaccinated. Now Biden then kind of reset some of the shit. Like now apparently, they're trying to get 70 million Americans, 70% of adults, 70% of adults to get at least one shot by like July 4th. The fuck? We was doing better than that. We was looking good a couple of weeks ago. Everything was looking like on the up. Everything looked like it was coming up roses. Y'all ain't got comfortable. Meanwhile, the states, are starting to open the cities back up. So in Pennsylvania, by May 31st, the city is going to be fully open for business. The state. Governor Wolf, because Philadelphia is not. And Philadelphians are angry. I don't know how I feel about it yet. I'm not going to say I'm angry. But some of the restrictions have allowed for some things. But man, oh man, let me just say, I am angry. I am so sad. This is a lot. It's a lot, y'all, because I'm just like, That's all I can say. All I can say is, Okay. All I can say. shit then got real. And listen, I mean, just be smart. I was reading a report that the condoms have went up. Not condom prices. Maybe they did go up, but they said people are buying more condoms now because of getting ready for what they call hot vac summer. Y'all just gonna ruin everything. Listen, let Meg Thee Stallion have her hot girl summer. Not everything's hot this summer. But red hot summer, right? I mean, but hot girl summer is now hot vac summer is the narrative. So people are buying condoms, are stocking up on condoms now. I'm looking like they're not gearing up for hot vac summer. They're getting it in now. People don't buy condoms for the summer. They will buy them in the summer, but they're getting done now. One of my friends is single and she's on dating apps and she tells me about how people are on there, I guess on Tinder or Cupid or one of the Plenty of Fish, one of them apps. But they was just saying that people are disclosing their vaccination status now as a sign to, be eligible for guests or to keep people over. And it's just like, y'all doing too much. But I guess, in a way, it's maybe we'll reach herd immunity this way. Who knows? But all I got to say is that I just want this pandemic. I think I'm feeling optimistic overall that the yearning of people to just go out back in the world is very telling. But it's also a sign that people are just like, look, we can't do this forever. I think last year there was, a strong, did America ever take this pandemic seriously? That's what I'm wrestling with. Did we ever take the pandemic seriously? I did. As a Black person, I did. But, and as just somebody who reads a lot, but I don't know. I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot, but in a way, I'm happy that there are more people getting vaccinated. I'm just staying as optimistic as I can be that more people will do the right thing like Spike Lee and that we won't have these problems. But we're going to have to see. So, things that we're going to have to see. Justin Bieber. Sir. So, sidebar. I met Justin Bieber in 2010 when I was an apprentice with a BET exec at the BET Awards. I was in LA. That was like my second time I went that year, which I love. LA is fun, but I would never go there. But I don't know if I live in LA. I just too much be going on in LA. But anywho, that's not the point. I saw Justin Bieber. I met him, and we took a picture together. And someone photographed me taking a selfie with him. The crazy story, what makes that even magical is that my phone, so it was an all-star, it was like a celebrity basketball game that was part of the BT Experience, which was when BT Awards was at the height of its heights. And it was sponsored by Sprite, because I remember they all wore those green jerseys, and it was a mess. But they had like Omarion, Snoop Dogg, I took pictures with all of them, Terrence J. I took pictures with Terrence J. It was like it was some big names on that court. And they were just there. And I had like an all-access pass or whatever. Man, I worked that access pass to the brink. Okay? Let me tell you something. I worked my credentials down. Okay? You gotta look good too. I be telling people about that credentials. You gotta, and I've had some credentials. I had an all-access pass to Made in America the last time they were really, 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 really good. Before the pandemic, actually. Shit, I just realized I was at the last Made in America. Wow. Listen, yeah, that was the last physical Made in America. I was there. Met some people there too. Met some cool celebrities. Man, that was great too. But anyway, I was there, had my pass, and I saw Bieber. Ugh, not Justin Timberlake, sorry. Justin Bieber. And that was when he was like, the Boyfriend album was about to drop or had just came out or it was about to come out. Actually, take that back. That was 2014 when I graduated from college. Sorry, I have to backtrack this. I graduated from high school in 2010. Okay, yes, 2014 when I graduated. So that was actually sooner than later. That was like about to be, it's going to be 7 years from now, 7 years ago, this summer. So I was in LA, it was 2014. And Bieber had, at that point, I remember he had a couple of bad boy moments, but not he didn't fall off the head just yet. But he still had that little pompadour haircut look and was still highly popular. I think he had got a couple of tats then, not all the tats he has now. But he was there. I took a picture with him. My phone died, and so I was mad because I didn't have the selfie. And I was quick with it because I knew they had to get on the court because they were playing basketball. And I was like, fuck, I'm going to lose this moment. Well, somebody took a photo of it. And I don't know how I got it, but somebody sent it to me. Somebody saw it in the press. Some tabloid or somebody had the photo. And they were like, oh my God, you took a picture. And I was like, shit, they got it. Because I remember telling people it happened, but I didn't have a photo to prove it. And you know how people be, no pics, Pixar is not true. You know how it goes, which is fucked up. But I had it. So anyway, that was a great moment. And, since then, Justin Bieber has been all over the place. But, child, now he's out here with these fake locks. And I don't know what's going on. But come on. Come the fuck on. I don't know. And it's just a lot. It's a lot. He's wearing these locks. And let's talk about this. So this was a conversation that's been coming up for a minute. When Adele had her locks, and it was a big old thing about Adele and her locks. And these conversations around cultural appropriation and all of these different things. And so that's going to bring me up to my actual next topic, which I love. This got a flow. This show has a flow to it. Of course it does, but just happy about that. So so there's a lot of cultural appropriation, and it's like, this. Why do you need to have these locks? These ugly, dry ass, fake ass, or whatever they do, blonde ass, dirty. Like, what are you doing? Like no, just be. Don't do that. Stop it. But he's not gonna listen to me. Just white people, stop, please. Black folks don't want to see you with it. I see people do this all the time. They do these. They think it's an aesthetic. They think it's a look. It's not a look for you. There's history behind locks and dreads and all these things. Leave it alone. Don't touch it. Don't do it. Don't think you can do it. I know you see other folks. Just leave things alone. Stop cash cropping on cornrows and colonizing on locks. Leave it alone. And he doesn't look good with it on. Like, Haley like this shit. Like, if Haley wants to hate, let me stop. All right. So, moving along. This is messy, y'all. Pose. So, I have so many thoughts about Pose. I can't begin. Where do I begin with Pose? Pose just got a lot of things going on with it. And okay. So I watched the season premiere, the first 2 episodes. It's like 5 episodes they're only doing for the season. Like, it's a 5-episode season. This shit's gonna be over like by the end of the month. It's by the end of May, pretty much. I mean, Pride Month, I was like, y'all should have wrote this out in Pride Month. It gave us like a celebration of this black, trans, queer, non-binary excellence. But whatever. I'm just gonna let y'all do what y'all do. So I watched the first 2 episodes. I don't know where I want to start. Do I want to start with Janet? Okay, I'm gonna start with the show a little bit, and then I'm gonna get into the drama behind the scenes, because I knew this show was not gonna end on just this high note. I mean, I think the show is. It's clear that they want some Emmys, or they want to get an Emmy consideration. I think that might be why they aired the show before, like in May, because I think Emmy consideration begins and starts. Don't ask me why I know that. Hint, hint, hint. But anyway, not for myself. I'm not getting an Emmy. Let me just say that. But there might be something else coming up in the news. Let me stop talking. All right. So these shows, these shows have to get consideration and submit nominations or be produced during a time frame. And everybody's calendar is off. And so I think they want to be up for Emmy consideration because it's the final season. I mean, come on, right? This is season 3. There's a lot of sentiment there. I know that MJ Rodriguez is really trying to get this campaign going for the Best Lead Actress Emmy nomination. I think she really wants that nomination. She hasn't got it. People really have been pushing for her. I mean, Billy Porter has already became the first openly black gay man to win the Best Lead Actor Emmy drama for his performance on Pose the first season. A great performance. Billy Porter, of course, follows me on social media. I'm a big fan of Billy Porter. He's a Tony winner, a Grammy winner, and an Emmy winner. Come on, Oscar. Come on there, Oscar. Let's go, Oscar. So we're going to see. But I mean, Billy definitely has been always a highlight of the show. But MJ Rodriguez's performance, it definitely has evolved and grown. There's people who think they don't know that the acting on the show is weird. I, am so into the show that I sometimes don't really get all into like the acting. I think they're good. I think they bring themselves. I feel like they're so comfortable in their roles that it doesn't even feel like it's acting for them. It's just so I don't know. I think there's a lot of people that critique the acting, say the acting is sometimes a little stale. I do think that the show's I think the actors have gotten better with their lines. I mean, Billy just gets it. Billy is just a wanderlust. He gets it. Like Billy but Billy's an actor who's been in the business for decades. He's been on Broadway. This is not his first ever role. And MJ has done other roles, and she does Broadway. She did Little Shop of Horrors. She's done other performances and things off Broadway stuff. So she has some talent too. But some of the other actors, I feel like this is when these are clearly their breakout performances and roles. For Billy, this is just Billy doing what he always does. I mean, you could look at Billy in Kinky Boots. I mean, kills it in Kinky Boots. The play, the musical, he won Best Actor, the Emmy Best Actor in a Musical for Kinky Boots, and then won a Grammy for that soundtrack, which is not an easy feat. But I mean, just kills it in Kinky Boots, the musical, which was inspired by the movie, which of course Chiwetel Ejiofor, who was in 12 Years a Slave, was nominated for a Golden Globe for his performance of Kinky Boots, which he originated the film role. So, he's a straight man. So Billy bringing that extra ferocity as a queer black actor just was everything. But anyway, enough about the acting. They've gotten better. I think they're trying to push for MJ Rodriguez to get this nomination since it's her last shot. 3 times the charm. Hopefully she can get it. And remember, she's on the front cover of Entertainment Weekly for the Pride issue. Lil Nas X is on there. Lena Waithe and others are on there. Child, Lena Waithe. Anyway, one of my good friends, Travell Anderson, who's a great journalist, they wrote the story, and their partner, Texas Isaiah, who's another black trans non-binary photographer, did the photography for Lena Waithe. They did the story, and that black trans excellence is everything. So I'm happy about the fact that they did the work and they got coins and they did some good work. But I'm a little over Lena Waithe as a person. But y'all already know that already. I mean, come on, them is terrible, and Queen of Slim is unforgivable. Not unforgettable, unforgivable. But anyway, so the season is a lot. The first 2 episodes, I'm not trying to spoil. Shit, fuck it. Y'all should have watched it by now. Real fans would have watched it by now. I don't know what to do. I mean, there's a lot going on. First of all, I don't like how they're doing my boy Damon, which a lot of you are funny, but there was a question that said, who would play you in a biopic? I would say the actor that plays Damon on the show would play me in real life. I think he's got the right. Yeah, he's a little lighter, but we could do a little makeup with her. Definitely got the fullness and roundness of me. He's a little thinner, but not too thin. He got a little thick this season, so he's definitely fitting me. I definitely could see him playing me. Cute enough, charming enough. I definitely would have him play me in a biopic. Just gonna put that out there. He's a good actor. I like his acting. I like his energy. I think he's okay. I think he's good. Ricky though, Ricky a hot ass mess, and he loves that widow's peak. But anyway, the character actor played Dylan Burnside. Dylan Burnside plays Ricky. But anyway, I do not like what they did with Damon. They talking about all of a sudden Damon is an alcoholism and drug use. He has not been on an episode. They said he relapsed. We didn't see him on the second episode of the 2-episode premiere. He made that one little, he does Buddhism or something, but apparently he's suffering with alcoholism and some other shit. It was just weird. I'm like, where did that come from? He was the shining star, auditioned to be on a tour. The good kid, went to school, did the dance. he was making Mama proud. He was making, Blanca proud. So I was just a little bit like, y'all really about to fuck up this narrative? Like, why would y'all do that to him? Like, Ricky was the one out here doing everything and everything, and no shame into him. But Ricky was the one who was definitely more, I felt like, would be the one to go into alcoholism or drugs, given just the way that he was always framed as a bad kid in the show. That's just my opinion. But Billy Porter is in this character. His character, of course, is Pray Tell. Pray Tell, child, is giving you alcoholic. Just cannot get enough of drinking, and the drinking is taking an effect on him. Will not tell the episode, but the episode, of course, intervention. Child, when he reads that, everybody in the damn show. I am not going to say what he said, but he reads everybody during the scene. You'll know the scene when you see it, but I cannot. But that just was a lie. They killing off characters. I'm not going to tell the characters they killed off, but they already been killed somebody off the show. About to bury another person off the show. It's just too much. It's too much. And then some of the characters that we slept on throughout the last 2 seasons, now they done got a whole reboost, and now they the hot new thing. It's a lot of interesting decisions being made with the show. But it's juicy. It's got me hooked. I'm going to watch it to the end because I'm a loyalist. It's going to be 23 episodes of Pose, and I'm going to watch all 23 episodes, or 28 episodes. I guess it would be 28. But I'm going to watch all of it. I'm going to watch all of it to the end. I'm a loyalist. It is what it is. Such a good show. Hate how it ended. They just kind of ended it. I guess they would just kind of act like it was a creative decision, but I ain't really buying that because Janet Mock, which is one of the executive producers and co-creators of this show, Black trans woman, redefining realness. She's dating Lil Poppy, which, can I just take a moment? I'm going to say a lot of people on this show got some drug and alcohol, substance abuse issues. The characters, not the people. I don't know the people's business. I'm talking about the characters. I just want to say that part. But Lil Poppy, listen, this is why I got to set this up this way. He is such an adorable, nice, kind, loving man on the show. Oh, he gets put through the, listen, okay? Angel on the show puts Lil Poppy through it, okay? Puts Lil Poppy through it, and he stays as faithful and as loyal to Angel as much as he can. I just wanted to say that, okay? Nobody on that show deserves Lil Poppy except, well, that part. Also, talking about Black love, Blanca and this new man who's played by Jeremy Pope, who was in the show Hollywood, who was a two-time Tony nominated actor, who was in Choir Boy and these other, I think The Temptations. He was super talented, Emmy nominated as well, Black gay actor, just incredible, very nice guy, nice looking guy. He's playing Blanca's love interest or partner in the show. That's like going to med school. I don't want to tell you so much of the show, but it's hot and it's juicy and gets raunchy. And, happy about that decision. I don't know about... Let's just keep watching the show. We'll watch the show together. Send me your message, your thoughts when you finish the second episode. DM me those type of tea. But show's moving along. Don't want to tell too much. But by next week, your homework assignment is, by next week, you would have watched the premiere 2 episodes and then the 3rd episode, which is coming out Sunday. It's always Sunday nights now. So that's just what it's going to be. And of course, but anyway, so love this. Love that. All that chemistry. But back to Lil Poppy. So Janet Mock is dating Lil Poppy in real life. I think it's Angel Caruso. This actor, he's like, definitely, I think Puerto Rican, Dominican, definitely Afro-Latina for sure. And Latinx. And they've been dating for a minute. There has been rumors. Let me put this out there. Rumors. Janet Mock was married. And once that divorce happened, she instantly started to be romantically linked to Lil Poppy. Apparently, they're saying that Lil Poppy was, kind of in the picture during the divorce. Like it wasn't done kosher, is what some people were saying about the relationship. Don't know that for a fact, but that was the narrative. But here is what we do know. So Janet Mock went to like this premiere for Pose. The cast was there, everyone was there, just like a big old hoorah glamour red carpet. This is like the first major like premiere that we've seen like this for this show. I mean, this a TV show. Like most people since the pandemic, this is like FX has not given a rollout. Like no major group has given this type of rollout. So they're taking the bets on this damn event. So she's there, and she rips the show to shreds. She says that she's only been getting, as executive producer and the co-creator, $40,000 an episode. She was only getting $40,000 an episode. She, complains about just some of the issues around inclusion, representation. She takes some of that guilt upon herself, claiming she could have done more. She could have been more supportive of her fellow Black trans folks in production in some types of ways. She talks about the writing on the show, said that the first 2 episodes are written by men and cis men or white men or whatever, and she wasn't really much a fan of it. She said that a fan of that. She kind of was calling out Ryan Murphy, questioning her pay, questioning the empowerment of Black trans women, said they were stepped on. I mean, she gave a lot of conversation around how they were being framed. It was a bombshell, like tell all. She was like, fuck Hollywood. She had a lot of energy on what was supposed to be what people thought a beautiful sunset. She was over it and through, and just really talked about her issues and her pain being in the industry, talking about how she had to fake the smile when things weren't always good and she knew there was issues. But the biggest revelation, in my opinion, that came from her personally was when she asked Lil Poppy to stand up before a cast crew production and told him that she was unfaithful with him and she was fucking somebody, that she had fucked on somebody in the crew and he wasn't leaving her. I was like, wait a minute. So you gonna let everybody in the whole crew know that you cheated on your man for somebody on the set. Mind you, you're dating someone on the set and you're cheating with somebody on the set. Girl, what you doing? So I was shook. I was like, first of all, I have not seen video footage. I'm trying to find it. No one has released the footage. But reporters were there, and reporters have recorded it. They've been writing it. The press have covered it, so it's happened. But god damn, like what? People have speculated. Was she completely sober when she got up on that stage? Because it looked like she was committing career suicide up there. As far as some of the stuff that she said. I mean, people said it was very real, raw, and honest, and it was. But damn, time and place. I mean, listen, who am I to tone police a Black trans woman? So I am not going to do that. That was her decision that she made. I just hope that she is able to continue to have a successful career and that she navigates that. I just think, regardless of identity and all of that, having your partner, calling your partner and confessing this and sharing this information to other people, I just wonder how Lil Poppy feel about it. And I just feel bad for Lil Poppy, because if he's anything like the man that he is on the show, damn. That's just damn, okay? That's just, my heart goes out to Lil Poppy, okay? Janet, I hope, let me just say this. As much as people can talk about Janet's approach, and I want to say this, what Janet said about the industry is true. And what needs to be said about the industry is that this is what I mean by cultural appropriation. Now, the people that led that show, I think they had good intentions. Steve Canals, all these people. But they were not Black trans people. And honestly, Janet getting paid that amount, it's just that, pay equity is an issue. It's already an issue in the Black LGBTQI community. But specifically with Black trans women, this is a real issue around pay equity. And, it's just like, none of you all was involved in the ballroom scene. None of the top creators, they have a fetish with it. Like Steve Canal, the creator who's Latinx, and queer. Yes, you're queer. Yes, you're all those, but you was not in the ballroom scene. There should have been more, I think, inclusion of those voices at the table, but also given leadership and pay. And Janet is an influencer, and Janet has a big platform, and that's great for Janet and all of those things. But you cannot, there has to be the writing room and the table. Some of that, a lot of it was ripped from the headline. Some of these stories we heard of, But it's like there should have been some other insight in there. And what I would tell people, and this is what I think is a big important thing to do, is just like we got to get past the point of cultural appropriation and cultural appreciation. What we need is cultural amplification. People need to start giving credit where credit is due. People need to give marginalized Black and brown people the support via amplification. Amplification means giving them the mic, letting them do their thing, giving them the resources to do their thing, letting them run this with their agency. Appreciation is not enough. Finding them aside or giving them shout outs or giving them nods in the work without letting them be the ones to speak has to change. And so I think that was the issue we learned from Pose, is that what Janet is saying, and I think, how I at least interpreted what Janet was saying, is that the point of the appreciation, the high fives, the talking about them without them fully, or the tokenization that happens often in these times, that needs to change, because the amplification is what is really desired at this point. I think we're definitely past the point of appropriation, and we're definitely past the point of appreciation. We need amplification. I feel like there's still people that's doing a cultural appreciation, right? When Adele did what she did, right? When Justin Bieber do what he do. Like, we're talking about people out here thinking that they're supporting and celebrating Mexicans on Cinco de Mayo. That's not it. Amplify the people to which you claim you appreciate. Amplify them. Give them the mic. Because it's paternalistic to assume what's best for those people. Give them the space to do what they do if you're such a fan of them, since you really love them, since you want what they want to have, what they have. Give them the space to do their thing. Period. So, that's about all. I mean, there's one last thing that's been talked about. I just, quickly. As the sun begins to rise, and as the temperatures begin to rise with it, public service announcement. Stop talking about darkness and talking about kids getting dark or being concerned about them getting dark in the sun during the summer. That's colorist as fuck, and we need to stop doing that. Just saying. Don't have a conversation about a person getting too dark during the fucking summer. And this is just for people, Black and brown people. And also, white people, do not compare or make mention of your skin complexion due to the heat of the sun. Let's not do any of that this summer. Wear sunscreen. Keep it cute. I know summer is next month, but I'm just letting you all know now, because the conversations are already beginning to happen about, I don't want to be out in the sun too long. I don't want to get too dark. What is wrong with darkness when it comes to melanin? Answer yourself that and cut that out. Because remember, America's not supposed to be a racist country, so you can't be doing racist things. So, yes. I will wrap this up by just saying that next week is going to be a major week. And that's all I can say. And, I'm super excited about the things that are going to come. And I can't wait to talk about it finally, but it's coming next week. Big surprise. I might even call the episode my big surprise. But it's going to be a fun episode. And I have to be quiet now because I am sworn into secrecy. But until then, look forward to talking to you all, and be smart, be great, be blessed, be best. Ernestly Speaking is recorded in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and SoundCloud. To stay up to date with the latest on the show, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Mr. Ernest Owens. Use the hashtag Ernestly Speaking to tell me what you thought about this episode, and check out my website at ernestowens.com.